Everybody wants to be efficient, an efficient worker, efficient person, especially an efficient hiker. If you're just out for a day hike, you want to be efficient at it. If you're on a section hike, and especially if you're on a through hike, you definitely want to be efficient. If you've been backpacking for any length of time, I'm sure you can go to certain hikes that were very efficient for you, and you came off of that hike saying, man, that was great. But then there's other hikes that you went on that, man, everything went wrong. So today I want to give you some tips on being an efficient backpacker, especially for us older hikers. But those of you that are young whippersnappers, you can listen up as well. So pay attention and let's get it. First thing you need to do is to research the trail that you're going to be hiking on. Even if all you're going to do is a day hike, learn a little bit about the trail. And especially this is true for through hiking. By all means, be sure and research the trail extensively through YouTube videos, books, internet searches. Just research as much as you can to find out as much as you can about the trail. Find out a little bit about the weather that it's going to be during that period of time that you're going to be on the trail. Find out the elevation, the tread that you're going to be going through. Find out all the difficulties that you're going to be facing, stream crossings, whatever. But find out as much as you can about that trail and research as much as you can. When I did the Pacific Crest Trail, I ordered Yogi's Pacific Crest Trail handbook and read it extensively because I wanted to be aware of some things that I was going to be running into. When I did the Ireland Way, even though I'd done a lot of research about the trail, I just wasn't aware of how wet it was going to be, how rainy it was going to be, the bogs and the farmers' fields that I had to go through, had to hike through, and just a lack of an established trail. It's better to be prepared before you go out on the trail than to be surprised at some things that you're facing and then having to adapt to it. Another thing to make your hike more efficient is choose efficient gear. I think there's been too much emphasis on lightweight gear instead of efficient gear. Sometimes more efficient gear may weigh a little bit more. I try to bring as many multi-use gear items that I can. For example, I bring a pair of rain pants with me. Well, one of the things I use the rain pants for is for warmth in the morning when it's cold. I can just slip on those rain pants and warm up my legs as I hike. At nighttime, if I'm cold, then I'll sleep in my rain pants. When I'm doing laundry and washing all my clothes, then I'll wear the rain pants if I'm going to a restaurant or going out doing something. Again, it's better than going in your birthday suit. Many people ask me, they say, Rev, how'd you get your pack so light? I just don't carry unnecessary stuff. And by the way, I don't try to get as light as I can to win a contest or anything. It's not a contest. It's just this old back of mine and these old knees and ankles of mine. They just can't handle a lot of weight. I've gotten my base weight down to 9 pounds, except when I bring camera equipment, a lot of camera equipment and drones and stuff like that. There's no way in the world that I could carry 25, 30, 40 pounds on my back. That would just kill me. And so get as efficient of gear that you can. Multi-use items are always a lot better. Another thing to backpack more efficiently is to get in good shape. Most people quit a through hike in the first 100 miles, and I believe the reason why is because they're not in good shape to start off with. 3 times a week, I get out on a local trail right down from our house, and I do about 8 miles each one of those days with a heavy backpack on my back. Again, I want to be in good shape before I start on the trail. Next thing, have a plan. I usually, even if I'm out day hiking, I have a plan on what route I'm going to be going, how long I'm going to be going, and where I'm going to be stopping. Especially on a through hike or section hike, have a plan where you're going to stop for resupply, or how many 0 days that you're going to have, how many miles per day that you're going to try to do. Have a plan where you're going to camp every night. Have a plan on what you're going to do when you get into a trail town. I usually put all the trail towns that I'm going to be stopping at and what mile marker they are on my phone. And so that way I can just open my phone up and look at where I am, how much further it is to the trail town, and just, again, plan it out before you even get on the trail. Now, speaking of having a plan, the next tip is to plan on contingencies. Not everything's going to go the way that you plan, but at least have a plan. When I did the PCT, I planned on stopping at Hart's Pass, the last stop before I got to the northern terminus, and I was planning on spending the night there, but again, I didn't plan on hypothermic weather coming in. It was cold, it was rainy, sleeting, and also my tent filled up with water, and everything in it was floating and sopping wet. So I didn't plan on those things like that. And so what I had to do is I had to go to a nearby town called Winthrop and stay in a motel there for 3 days until the weather cleared and it warmed up a little bit so that I could go ahead and go on to the northern terminus. Make plans, but then prepare for contingencies, because not everything is going to go the way that you plan for it to go. What are you going to do if you go to a hostel and they lost your reservation? What are you going to do when you go to a shelter and it's all full? These are all contingencies that you got to plan for. Here's another tip. Don't be afraid to try new things. I know us old hikers, we get used to one thing, doing it this way, and it's hard for us to change. Even for young hikers, it's easy to get into a rut, but don't be afraid to try new things. New gear, new ways of doing things, new clothes. Don't be afraid to try new things, even new trails. When I did the PCT, I noticed a lot of Europeans that had come over to the United States to do the Pacific Crest Trail. And so right then and there, I decided I'm going to return the favor and go over to Europe and do one of their trails. And that's why I did the Ireland Way. Another tip: push yourself and challenge yourself to do more. Again, I think we as hikers, we get into a rut, be older hikers or younger hikers, I think we get into a rut. We do the same thing over and over and over again because it's easiest. When I first started the PCT, I only did, I think the first day I did like 15 miles, which I was pretty happy with that. I didn't do my first 20 until, oh my goodness, I think maybe I was just short of Kennedy Meadows. I'm not really sure about that. So again, don't be satisfied with where you're at. Push yourself, motivate yourself to do more, to hike more, to go longer distances, to go longer. You don't have to quit at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, to be a more efficient backpacker, make sure that you take care of everything before you leave to go on trail. Just a day hike. The whole time you're out there day hiking, you think to yourself, did I turn off the oven? And especially if you're doing a long distance through hike, make sure that you take care of everything. Make sure all the bills are on auto pay. Make sure that you have somebody to check on your house or your apartment every day to make sure there's no problems. If you want to be an efficient backpacker, then do not allow yourself to get discouraged. Somebody asked me one time when I was on the trail, they said, Rev, what is the hardest thing about doing this through hike? And I told them just immediately, I said, the mental part of the trail is the hardest. Hard to keep yourself motivated day in and day out, doing the same thing over and over and over again. But if you think about the trail as a whole, you'll get discouraged because it's a long ways. 2,653.1 miles is a long ways. 2,200 miles on the AT is a long ways. And if you think about that, you'll get discouraged. Whatever you do, don't compare yourself with other hikers. You can always find someone else that can hike faster than you, longer than you, more efficient than you. If you want to be an efficient backpacker, then be sure and keep your mind occupied while you hike. Sometimes the trail can be monotonous. I mean, it's just one step in front of the other, 1 foot in front of the other for over 1 million steps. Listen to podcasts, listen to audiobooks, listen to music. I'd be careful about listening to music because sometimes the beat of the music can either cause you to go faster or to go slower. I was hiking down the trail one day and I had earphones in my ear, and a hiker came up to me and said, "Hey, what are you listening to? Are you listening to a podcast?" I said, "No, I'm listening to a Godcast." I was listening to the Bible on my phone. Instead of your mind being consumed with how hard the trail is and thinking about how difficult hiking is, you can take your mind somewhere else. Think about something else, pleasant and motivational. Now, hopefully those tips helped you out to be a more efficient backpacker, whether you're going on a day hike, a section hike, or a long distance through hike, whether you're old or young or somewhere in between. All of us want to be more efficient in everything that we do, and especially in backpacking. Now, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about backpacking, be sure and check out the videos that are on the screen. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. And until then, I will see you down the trail.